After you sit on the toilet, don't you? Use that as your meditation.
Not my wife, not your wife, nor anybody listening to this podcast has eaten a shit sandwich we didn't have a hand in making.
Welcome to Recovery Unfiltered. I'm Larry. I'm an alcoholic.
I am Rob. I am also an alcoholic. We are not professionals. There are no letters after our names. We know very little. However, you will hear the word God and a four-letter word in the same sentence. You will also be offended. So if you are easily offended, just pass us by. This podcast is not for you.
Our opinions are just that. If you don't agree with what we're saying, that's okay. We're going to love you anyways. We are not in any way affiliated with AA.
So sit back, grab a beverage of your choice, and get ready.
Let's go. Hello, Mr. Rob.
Hi, Larry.
Welcome back, brother.
Welcome back.
Dude, I got all kinds of new toys over here.
I see that. We got a...
I got that one just in the case we're not hearing the dogs barking down there.
Okay. Farts are funny. Okay.
Hey, I planned. You know what? It's been 2 weeks since we recorded, so I'm.
So I like the baby too. So when we have a victim on, someone that always says "but," when they try to own their own shit. Yeah, but
everything after butt.
Yeah, everything after butt.
That man speaking is who? Come in, brother.
My name is John, and I am an alcoholic.
Welcome, John.
Amongst other things.
There you go. We're excited to have you in here. Pull that a little closer, Mike. A little bit closer, John. Appreciate it.
How's that?
That is excellent. So, John, I'm excited to have you in here. You've been a part of our group for the longest time. And the thing that we're going to get into in a minute is John is 21 years sober, and he decided to go through the steps.
He's only 23 years old. It's amazing.
Are you going to drink on that fucking mic the entire time?
Maybe.
God damn it. Juveniles in here. Where'd it go? Yeah. There you go.
Dude.
This is going to get interesting, I think.
A boy with toys.
Yeah.
A boy with toys. So anyways, you read something. Rob started a book study on Thursday nights, and I haven't been one. Rob is he's a book thumper, right? Who started that? Doug or
Brad?
Brad
started that.
But here's the thing I love about it is Rob, when he tells us, when he gets into this book, he knows it so well that he can speak it. And I've read this book. You can see in this one spot that I'm getting ready to read. It's been highlighted and everything. But he read this the other night, and I just wanted to go over it again because it hit so close to home, and you'll know why here in a minute. It says, my friend promised when these things, who's the friend, Rob? Come on.
Abby Thatcher.
There you go. My friend promised when these things were done, I would enter upon a new relationship with my Creator, that I would have the elements of a way of living which answered all my problems. Belief in the power of God, plus enough willingness, honesty, and humility to establish and maintain the new order of things were the essential requirements. Simple, but not easy. A price had to be paid. It meant destruction of self-centeredness. I must turn in all things to the Father of light, who presides over us all.
Presides.
Sorry. Thank you.
I didn't have my book open, Heather.
Thank you. These were revolutionary and drastic proposals, but the moment I fully accepted them, the effect was electric. There was a sense of victory followed by such a peace and serenity as I had never known. There was utter confidence. I felt lifted up as though the great clean wind of a mountain top blew through and through. God comes to most men gradually, but his impact on me was sudden and profound. I don't know why, like I said, the other night when we did that, when you read that paragraph, that last one, obviously anytime they talk about peace and serenity, it grips me, right? And when we read that, I was like, because it did, I felt like when I had my spiritual awakening, mine was very, very profound and very.
That reminds me when you walked into Chris's office and everything was backwards,
right,
and you started fixing. He said, "Why are you doing that?"
Right.
You had a realization like you're not in control. Right. It's kind of a spiritual awakening.
Absolutely. In that moment, I could still remember that feeling that rushed through me, just how much of a
And that was for Bill when he said, "Why don't you come up with your own conception of God?" Then Bill, that left Bill out of argument.
Right.
You're out of arguments now. Yeah. He's like, "Why? Why didn't I think of that?"
And it goes back to what I texted you yesterday when I was in the meeting. I say, hey, "Don't let me forget this," right? And it's a reason why I didn't want to forget is because a lot of times I hear something and I want to write it down because it's profound. Words mean a lot, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But words mean so much, and I hear Doug, and you said it best, Doug talks to those newcomers a lot, right? That's the way he speaks.
When he speaks, no matter who he's talking to, that's how he shares. Very simple, because that's how he has to receive it. So he's like the Billy Graham of AA. Every time he shares, it's as if he's talking to a newcomer.
Right.
Basics.
And I like it, not except, so I'm gonna be cautious how I say that. For me, when he says that, if you want to be sober, you got to follow these steps. See, I don't think about those steps as keeping me sober, only because I just don't think about that anymore, right? It's just not something for me. When I feel my peace and my serenity inside of me, that's what those 12 steps are for, right? That's what they're for me.
But when Doug says that, he's talking to the newcomer. What he doesn't mean, but you just say it differently.
Right.
If you want to get sober, you better take these steps.
Right. And if you want to stay sober, stay on these steps.
And then what did Bill, what you read? Right. It's a way of living.
Right. Right.
We just took that way of living and we used it to get sober.
Yeah. And it's like I said, it's those things that every once in a while, like I said, words mean so much. And we're going to talk about that a few times today, only because there's been, I was listening to a podcast and it's called Forward Immunization or something like that. But as you're moving forward, you get a ton of ideas. The more you move forward, the more ideas come to your mind. Well, I just drove 13 and plus hours this last week. So I had a lot of moving forward, right? So I got a lot to talk about today, but we're going to get to our guest. Hey, John.
Hi, my name is John, and I am still an alcoholic, amongst other things, as always. So, where do you want me to start, man?
I don't know, man. So John and I got involved together. Well, John, I met you through our Oakdale meeting, and then once I got involved in H&I, John and I got to be a little closer and closer, and I got to go in and listen to your story a few times, and I love your story. And then when you went back and redid your steps at 21 years, it just, it made me go, we don't ever stop learning this. Never.
Yeah. So, I can start in the beginning. I can start in the middle. I can keep going.
Hey, do it. This is your show.
So at 20 years of drinking and using, because like I said, I'm an alcoholic amongst other things. With 20 years plus of drinking and using, powdered accelerants is wrong.
Brought to you by.
Brought to you by powdered accelerants. So and then over 21 plus years of sobriety, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous right now. So
you can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, I know. Not normal, right? I mean, I'm used to. I can sit around and talk to you guys all the time, and then now just knowing that this is going to go out there,
just talking to us.
Like it's just. I don't know.
I know 2 seconds ago you were Mellow John.
That was Mellow John.
We go high.
Here we go. Oh my God, here we go.
It's all right.
No, anyway, no. So I could tell you guys my story, 10 times and you would hear different things every single time. I'm not that guy that's going to go sit in a meeting and tell my story and you're going to hear the same thing every time, because I've got 20 plus years of drinking and using, and then 20 plus years of sobriety, and you can't get that all in 45 minutes or an hour. You're never going to get it, so I just thought I'd just kind of like
let God bring out what he wants.
Yeah, just kind of exactly. I went on my run. My normal Sunday morning routine is I go out and I go on a run, and about halfway through my run, I ran a 5K this morning. I turned off the other podcast that I was listening to, and I just said, "Hey God, you know what?
Attaboy.
What do you want me to talk about today?" And we're just kind of work on that. Like it's whatever, because throughout this whole week, knowing that this was coming, I just I haven't been nervous about it right now. I didn't get nervous until after Larry went, "Okay, we're live," but not really.
But not really.
But not really, right?
You're gonna get to critique this before it goes out.
Oh, yeah. So so we're just gonna work on that, right? So I can go all the way back to the kind of where it started. My childhood was not normal, right? It just wasn't. My mom died when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
That's
dad, traumatic.
Yes. So
how did she die, Joe? I know, but they don't.
My mom had an aneurysm,
like my father.
So had an aneurysm, and the same thing that her mother had died from at the same age. They were both the same age when they passed.
And what age was that?
At 31 years old. So when my mom died, my mom and dad were high school sweethearts. They had been together, all through high school and stuff like that. And then after she passed away, and I'm going to say this out, it may sound bad what I say about my dad and things that happened after that. My dad was one of us. who never got
Did
help.
he? I was saying
He
he
never
didn't
got
know.
help.
Okay.
He never got help.
Gotcha.
Right. And we're just gonna kind of get through that. Right. So after my mom passed away, like I said, I was 7 years old.
So this is the mid to late 70s. We're about the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1978 to be exact. So anyway, after my mom died, my dad fell deep into his disease. Right. He had no way to try to learn how to deal with all of that stuff. So, crazy thing happened. I was already all of those things that we've talked about in our podcast and we hear on other podcasts and that kind of stuff about. I was already kind of a loner. I already had I have ADHD. Yes, Larry, I'm probably going to be drinking that water quite often, right? Because I can't sit still. I'm like,
fine.
I'm not Portuguese like this man next to me, but I am by osmosis, so I speak with my hands all the time, right? Because my brain just doesn't stop, right? It doesn't stop. And we'll get to that in a second. But so I've already got all this. I was extremely dyslexic. I had reading issues. Like I got held back. Like there was all of this other stuff going on, like with me, like mentally and physically and stuff already. And so then after my mom passed away, I literally imploded. Like I just introvert, solid, backed up. I'm inside.
You said you were 9?
I was 7.
Wow.
7 years old. And I just kind of went inside, right? So shortly after my mom passed away, just a little over a year and a few months, my dad remarried. They spent, I believe that they were together about 12 years, but literally every day in the bar.
I was just getting ready to ask you if she was a drinker too.
They literally every day in the bar, right? No fault of her own either, right? I mean, she was quite a bit younger than him. Here she is. She marries this guy that's I think their age difference was 11 or 12 years. Age doesn't matter. But here she's got 2 kids, myself and my sister, who's 3 years older than I am, and
she didn't have any kids of her own, or
no?
Okay,
still. So anyway, so just every day in the bar, right?
Dude, you're killing me. Calm down.
I can't.
Dude, fuck. You're good. Relax.
Yeah. I am.
Okay.
This is just.
Why in the fuck did you drink an energy drink?
He just had a sip.
Because I'm going to get there in a second. All right, you'll get that. You'll get that here in a second.
I'm trying to crack a couple jokes so you chill a little bit.
No. I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm trying to let God speak through me, right? So I'm just trying to hit the highlights, right? And you can leave it all in there. I don't care.
I know.
This just is what it is because it's part of who I am. Right. So, so I just grew up in this environment where drinking was normal. Right. Everybody around us and them, everybody drank. Right. It was just normal. I remember, I think I was 11 years old, and I was at a wedding, and I was little. I'm still little. A little bit taller than Rob.
We are going to have midget. We're going to have midget wrestling around here pretty soon.
A little bit taller than Rob, but not much. And I got hammered. I got hammered on champagne because I could sneak in and out of the crowd, and nobody noticed I was taking all the half-empty bottles.
Your head was below the bar.
I was taking all the half-empty bottles, and me and my cousins were getting plowed in the garage. It was like the first time I ever remember having a hangover the next day. It was
that's a bad one too. Champagne hangover.
It was horrible, but it did not deter me, right?
But how did that make you feel as you guys were drinking? I mean, did you?
I don't even really remember.
So you didn't get that warm, that where your body makes that sound.
To be 100% honest with you, I didn't even remember that until a couple of years ago. I was with my cousin, who I hadn't seen in years, and she brought it up, and then all of a sudden, boom, that came back, and I was like,
more shall be revealed.
And I was like, oh yeah, dude, and then all of those memories kind of came back, right? So, I closed off a lot of my childhood. Like I blocked it all out. I blocked it all out. I pushed it all aside. There was a lot of mental, physical, and emotional abuse in throughout my childhood.
Mental. Where was the mental coming from?
All at home.
Right.
Home with an alcoholic father.
Well, I was looking for that.
So it was tough. Like I said, my dad never did get help. Right.
And you never felt comfortable in your own skin to begin with.
And I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. Right. So by the time I graduate high school, at this time, my dad had already divorced my stepmom. There was a lot of other things that had happened. Like I said, that I've had this whole traumatic thing, like all of this happened.
A lot of happening.
Like there's a lot happening, right? But I believe that everything has happened in my life for a reason.
I agree with you, John.
I do. Even the stupid, screwed up shit the decisions that I made, right, in my addiction, right? So all of this time I swore up and down, I'm never going to become my dad. I'm just not. I'm not going to become. I'm going to be everything I can be. Not
we
to
hear
be
that a lot.
Like I'm not going to become my father, right? So again, he was sick. He was a very, very sick man, right? Love him to death.
How long into your sobriety? I'm sorry, but how long into your sobriety were you able to say that right there?
Oh, it was a few years.
Was it?
It was a few.
When
years.
you finally realized, shit.
It was a few years. Yeah. Well, I'll get to that in a second, but it was I can touch on it again in a second. It was probably 3 years of continuous sobriety before I woke up one day and looked in the mirror and went, wow, dude, your whole outlook upon life is just fucked up, right? It just is. The way you see things is skewed. That's just not, this shit isn't normal.
Right.
And it was 3 years of continuous sobriety before the light went off.
So what I read just a minute ago, it took you 3 years to get to that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, when they say to some, it comes gradually.
Sometimes quickly,
sometimes quickly, sometimes
and
slowly.
the reason why I wanted to step that out, because I remember you telling me that, is for this fact. If you don't get hit over the head with this when you first step in the rooms, just keep working it.
Well, the educational variety.
Right.
That's what William James says.
Just don't
I'm the educational variety.
Right. So by the time I graduated high school, I'm pretty much an everyday drinker. I'm getting hammered on the weekends.
Are powdered accelerants a part of that too?
Not yet. Not yet. So I'm getting hammered on the weekends, right? Because my dad always said, right, you can drink all you want, no drugs. You can drink all you want, no drugs. Like drugs aren't allowed. Like the beer's in the fridge, but no drugs, no hard drugs, no hard drugs. So we kind of got into a physical altercation. It was the last time my dad laid hands on me. The tables got turned a bit because I was just done, right? But I spent my whole senior year couch surfing, because my dad
did the same thing.
My dad said you're never going to amount to a pot of beans, and we heard things and.
But that was his way to try to motivate you to amount to something.
It was right. It was. I mean, he said shit like the best part of you ran down your mother's leg.
You said that out loud to you?
Out loud to me. And it took, I didn't even understand it when he said it, right? And I'm pretty sure he was drunk at the time, right? And he probably said it more than once for me to remember it. I didn't even understand what he was talking about at the time because I was that young, right? Until later. And then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Whoa, that's kind of fucked up, right? It's recovery unfiltered, is
right?
It not?
Oh yeah,
right. So I mean, all of this physical and mental stuff that's going on, dude. It just is what it is. But I get married right out of high school. That relationship lasted like 18 months from the time we got married until the time our divorce was final. It was nothing but in that somewhere right in there was the first time I tried the powdered accelerants, and this is how you know that I am ADHD. The very first time
did it
that
calm
I did
you down
meth,
like me?
it put me to sleep.
Oh yeah. See, for me, it focuses.
It put me to sleep. I passed out for like
then it was
3
bunk.
hours.
It was not the good stuff.
No. It was good. When I came to, all of this noise and stuff that's always been going on in my head, it all went
slowed down,
quiet. I'm a mechanic, dude.
And you could tinker
at heart, right?
You could focus.
I could focus. All of a sudden, I start building all this stuff, dude, and I'm like, I can focus and I can do all of these.
You know what it did for me with that? And then my buddies would say, "Hey," and we always got the good stuff. Butch would say, "Hey, this ain't a hit, and Rob, give him another one."
Yeah. Well, but
I would focus. I was going
right.
But the thing that it did the most is I could drink more.
Oh yeah, like
all
a
night
champ.
Right? I could be drunker.
Days.
I could be drunker than
days.
shit, stumbling, falling down, and do a gagger.
Level
right?
out.
And then boom, just like I'm
Level
sober. Like
out.
physically, my body is still drunk, right? But my mind is not. And then so that just was like I was hooked. I was
Better living through chemistry.
Yeah, exactly.
Better living through chemistry.
You stole my shit.
Sorry, buddy.
No. So, Larry, I'm sitting here, I'm rocking back and forth. You think I'm nervous. Like, I took a drink of that Red Bull to try to slow some of that
that's where it is.
down.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So, even today, like, if I have a project that I need to do today, I'll drink one of she calls them shots. Yeah. my better half across the table from me over there. Her name is Heather, by the way.
That gives you a permission to speak anytime you want now, Heather.
Yeah. So she calls them shots, right? The little bitty cans of Red Bull. I'll have one of those.
They're teasers, not shots.
Yeah, teaser shots, whatever. So anyway, all of a sudden my world starts going, and it's actually happening, right? Like just from a couple of drinks, because it just brings me down.
Same thing why I drink those.
So so that led into a 13-year long career, and I call it a career because I realized in really short order that I knew where to get all of the good shit, right? All of these people that I had been hanging out with my entire life, most of them were using.
Wow. Try to keep the mic in you.
Yeah.
If you can.
Try to keep the mic. I don't know if I want it in me, Larry.
Well, put it wherever you want. Just stay
in my zone.
Just stay
Zone.
there where we can talk.
So,
but that made us feel closer to normal. What we thought normal was.
What we thought normal was,
and
right?
we could function like this. Now I can function.
Because the alcohol had already done all of the things that we hear all the time. Right? Not that I ever went to dances, right? Because I just didn't. I wasn't going to go put myself in that kind of situation around all of those kind of people. But at a party, when I got there, I was over there by the keg, right? But by the end of the night, I was out there dancing and having a good time with whoever, right? I mean, because that's just how it was, with the few friends that I had, right? And most of them were fair weather friends, right?
As long as you had the dope.
Yeah, well, in high school or whatever, I actually had some friends, but once I started using it, it was in really, really short order that I started dealing dope.
Okay.
I mean, that's just, everybody came to me.
When did the trouble start?
The trouble really didn't start for a long time. Like I had years.
So there's fun, the fun with problems and then just problems,
It was a long time.
Yeah.
It was a long time. So that's somewhere around like 1991 or whatever is when I start using. So, I'm dealing dope. I'm having fun. Things are good. I'm building stuff like nothing's really a problem.
Did you have an actual job though? Were you working?
No, I couldn't hold a job to save my life.
Okay.
Like I was just bouncing all over because if you pissed me off,
right,
I'd literally bounce. I could go find another job because
Gotcha.
Every job that I ever had, I got really good at it really, really fast.
Bored.
Yeah, I just get bored and then whatever, and then I'm off to the next thing. I've done all kinds of stuff throughout the years, but all of a sudden, I find out that, the girl I'm with is pregnant, whatever. So this is my first geographical change, right? I know I've got a drug problem by this time. Like I know that there is a drug problem, right? I don't have an alcohol problem, right? Because if I'm just drinking, I'm functioning, I'm just functioning. So I end up going out of state. Problem is, I took myself with me. I'm not using while I'm out of state. I'm going to college.
So you're running away from dope.
Yes, I'm running away from dope, but I'm also trying in my mind. I'm like, I've got this, I've got this kid on the way.
Right.
I
was just going to ask you, did your wife go with you?
No.
Wasn't his wife?
Never my wife.
Oh, gotcha.
Baby mama.
Okay.
Yeah, baby mama. Right. So I go out of state. Problem is I take me with me. Like I'm going to this tech school out of state and I'm drinking like a fish the whole time. Like I wouldn't even go when I got there, I didn't even go get an apartment on campus because you couldn't have beer in the refrigerator right on campus, right? But so I got priorities. So I get an apartment off campus, right? So I can have a beer if I want. So guess who had all the parties?
You.
Right? They all came to my house. I didn't even have to buy the alcohol for those things
we're smart like that.
because all of those other kids were coming to my apartment to have these parties, right? So
they were bringing the rent with them.
Can we just keep our beer here with you, John?
Yeah, right.
Sure.
So we had some pretty good parties, and it was fun or whatever. But I'm creating wreckage the whole time, dude. Like all of this.
What do you mean by that?
Well,
what do you consider wreckage? Let's relationship wreckage.
Relationship wreckage, right? There was this thing. There was a girl that I met while I was there. We ended up living together and whatever. And there's just this whole wreckage thing that I created while I was there, right? So I'm not using, right, but I am still creating wreckage even while I'm drinking, but I don't realize that. right, at the time, right? So I come back and I go stay with my grandparents and I get a job at a dealership and like I'm trying to do
Not
everything.
a dope dealership.
No, not a dope dealership, a car dealership, right? And I'm kind of trying to do the thing, right? And I'm working this job and I'm trying to.
And you're trying to be a dad at this time?
Yeah, I was going to say, your kid's born.
The baby's born already, right? Yep, the kid's born already, and I wasn't 100% sure if she was mine yet at the time, but I'm still trying to be a part of her life when I get back. By the time I get back, she's, almost a year old and all of this stuff. And like I'm at her first birthday party and all of that because, hey, I didn't want to miss it. I've already missed this first part. I don't want to miss anymore, whether, whatever the DNA.
Because I'm not going to be that dad.
Right. I'm not going to be that dad. Right. And so I'm trying to, at this point when I come back, mind you, the whole time I was gone, I'm drinking like a fish and now I'm not. Right. Because I'm trying to control it and I'm trying to do all this right stuff. And, it's just not working. And every once in a while, I'd get high on the weekend and I drink a bunch to try, go up, and then I got to come back down, and I'm trying to do.
Did you logically think that though? In the middle of that, I hear you guys talk that, but did you guys logically think that
sometimes?
Oh my God, I need to level back out.
Yes.
I did too much,
and it worked at times.
I know, but I cannot tell you when I was doing my cocaine and my alcohol.
Yeah.
I was just fucking going. There was never any time where I was trying to put a chemical fucking balance in there.
I was trying to hide it.
I didn't even think that. I would fucking
everybody
line, beer,
yeah,
line. I just
Coke
didn't.
And meth are different animals.
Yeah, I wasn't in the meth.
So I was trying to hide it, and you can go from right there to that's way too fucking much, really damn fast.
Yeah, I don't ever remember
really
having
fucking
that
fast, and then it's really hard. But everybody knew I was an addict. Like everybody around me knew I was an addict. I knew I was an addict, right? I didn't realize the drinking part of it. So it's in this time frame, my dad dies.
How?
Right. I'll get right there. We were just trying to start to get along. We actually had a hunting trip planned. Wow. Like I was coming up.
Still drinking?
He was still drinking. He was trying to control his drinking because his doctor told him he had to, right? Because his physical ailments were getting to that point, and he ended up having a heart attack and dying like the day that we were going hunting. Right. So it was the whole thing. I literally fell off the deep end that day.
Question.
Answer.
As far as faith in God and stuff, were you at this point, were you ever angry at God? And you already took my mother at 7. I didn't have that. Now you're taking him as we're just getting there. Or did you even have a belief in that? Was that anywhere there?
So if we back all the way up to the beginning, right. My mom was a devout Presbyterian.
Okay. I thought.
Right. So we, church every Sunday, that kind of stuff until she passed away. My stepmom's family was Catholic, so sometimes I'd go to Catholic mass and that kind of stuff. So I always had a belief in a higher power.
Okay.
And then throughout my career, it was the only time I really prayed was, God, get me out of this one, and I want
911.
911 prayers.
The 911 prayers, and I did that a lot. So I always had this faith, right, or this belief.
Okay, so now your dad passes.
So my dad passes, and I literally go to my old connections house, and I'm like, I'm like,
been there.
Like, well, I stopped at the liquor store, and I got a fifth of Jack on the way because Jack and powdered accelerants. Our stories are way more alike than you think.
That's why I love you, Jack. So, I love you.
So I stop and I get a fifth of Jack and I go to my connections house and I'm like, give me an 8-ball. And I sat there and I blew a pipe and I smoked that entire 8-ball that night.
See, I never smoked it.
And I drank that whole fifth of Jack that night and I was off. Like I was off again. And
when you say off, you're off on another.
I was off
and running.
I was off and
like
running.
a 2 or 3 week binge.
No.
No, we're gone.
Oh God, I wish it was only 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. Well, what I meant by that, you were okay. I see what you're going.
My benders were used.
He was not trying to control and enjoy it. He's not going to control anything. He's just going to enjoy them.
Yeah, and literally everything that I had worked while I worked for and built while I was just drinking, fell apart in short order. And I mean, there's more than that. There's so much more in there, but getting into that kind of detail here is just ridiculous, right? But there's so much stuff going on, so it's back and forth. Drinking. Now I'm trying to hide it, and now I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to do that, and there's all of this other stuff going on, and I end up losing the good job, and I'm still the whole time I'm just creating wreckage. So in 1998 or whatever, you know, and I've been arrested a couple of times, you know, doing stupid shit, right? But in 1998, I get arrested on a possession charge, paraphernalia, doing all this other stuff, and then this is when I get introduced to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Back then, they had this thing in Stanislaus County. It was called drug court, and
They don't have that anymore?
I don't know if they still, honestly, I don't know if they do or not,
gotcha.
to be honest, but they had, it was called drug court. It was like the very beginning of court mandated rehab stuff, right? It was a year-long program. You do this for a year, you go to 3 meetings a week, you go to 3 NA or AA meetings a week. I know we're not affiliated, but, and
no letters.
No letters. Definitely not behind my name other than ASSHOLE. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. You know, so you get introduced to the program, right? So this is where I get introduced to the program. And when I go to one of my very first AA meetings ever, I walk in this living room and this guy's standing there, and it was one of my dad's old drinking buddies.
Oh, wow.
And he looks at me that day and he says, "John, if I can do this, anybody can do this."
I hadn't heard that part of your story.
You know, right? So
is that odd or is that God?
Is that odd or is that God? Right? But see, I couldn't wrap my head around. Again, I know I'm an addict, full blown. I know if I touch anything that, you know, any powdered accelerants, anyone, crack, cocaine, methamphetamines, whatever. Those were my, you know, drugs.
That's what
choice.
I thought too.
I like to go fast, right? Because mainly so I can drink more and then whatever. So, but by this time, all of my body chemistry had changed so much. Like I'm not ADHD anymore. I'm not. Like everything has really changed
without the drugs.
Wow. Right? Okay. I'm just, everything is starting to change. Like I can't fix anything anymore. I'm starting to become this normal, like all of the tweakers that you see running around, you know, riding a bicycle. I'll take apart a lawnmower and I can't put it back together. Like all of this shit, right? Yeah. And I built engines and I've done all of this stuff, and like I can't figure out how to put it back together. Like I just can't. And so I just keep going. So 1999, my grandmother, who was the rock my entire childhood, my grandmother, she was the rock, is sick. I'm in jail at the time. She's fighting her 3rd round of cancer, and she's in her early 70s. And I'm talking to her on the phone from jail every day. And she always called me son. She's like, "Son, I don't know how much longer I'm going to make it. And I'm trying to get out and they won't let me out. And I'm only in there for like 47 days or whatever, but she's just declining seriously." So anyway, you know, so all of this is just tearing at me, and I get out and I go down and I get to see her, and we get to have this great little moment together. But during this moment, she looks at me and she says, "Son, I know you're not ready, but promise me that someday you're going to get yourself right."
Fuck, that just gave me chills.
Right? So I'm not an emotional person. Like I'm not. I say all the time I have 1.5 feelings. Heather tries to tell me I have 2.
Well, you're like Doug.
I only have 1. I'm just not. Right?
She
I'm just
knew.
not. Right? But she just knew. She says, "Promise me, son, that you're going to get, you know, you're going to get right." So somewhere right in there, and I can't remember the exact time frame, I decide, you know what, dude, I got to get away from the dope. I make another geographical change, right? I move out of state again, because I'm not the problem. The dope is the problem, right? It's not the lifestyle. It's not any of this stuff. So I move out of state again, right? What do? Go to another state. I live with this buddy of mine, and all I do is create more fucking wreckage. Right? Bad wreckage.
When you say wreckage, John, what do you mean by that? Explain that a little bit.
So if I'm under the influence, if I put something in my body that changes the way I feel, I will say and do absolutely anything to get what I want.
Okay.
He hurts people.
I'm a master fucking manipulator.
Thank you. That's where I was going. I know. Master. I knew where he was going. I wanted you to explain that a little bit.
So I'm a master manipulator, right? And usually it has to do with sex.
Okay.
Hands down.
Okay.
Right? Usually I will say and do anything to get what I want in that fucking moment.
Okay.
Right? I never was a big thief or wasn't whatever, anything. My dad always used to tell me I could sell fucking ice cubes to Eskimos. Right? Because even
if they had a backyard full of it.
Even if they had
didn't have mine, and they're going to want mine.
That's true. They had a fucking igloo, right? Because in that moment, I will say and do anything I want. Right.
We are great bullshitters, liars, and we hurt people to do it. And we don't care.
And in reality, I may not go steal your physical stuff, but I will steal your emotions. Emotions.
Yeah, I was good at that myself.
Like I will.
Yeah.
We
all will.
Wow. So this is 99, 2000. Y2K didn't come. The world didn't come to an end. I lived. You remember that, right?
Oh yeah.
Y2K,
No,
right?
I had to
look at me all funny right now.
No, I had to.
But this whole time
brought back bad memories for me.
Yeah. So this whole time, I'm in another state. I'm creating wreckage. Like I got this buddy that goes and lets me stay with him. I end up getting drunk and kissing his wife, and like I'm just I never did that, but I'm just creating wreckage, right? This
Did
is
your
just
buddy ever find out?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Know that I didn't live there anymore, right? let's say, and by all means, right?
No.
I deserved it, right?
Right.
So anyway, I stay there for a while, but while I'm there, dude, I get this really good job, and I'm out of California. I left on felony formal probation still from 1998, but I bounced, right? I just bounced. So this whole time I don't have a driver's license.
You're on a felony probation. You're out of state.
Yeah, and then they don't know where the fuck I'm at. They don't know where the fuck I'm out, right? Because I'm just trying. I want to come back.
Did you find dope over there? You're just drinking now?
A couple times, but just drinking. Yeah. I found some coke once. It was terrible. Like, fuck, whatever, dude. This isn't even.
It's like eating sushi in the middle of the country.
Yeah, it's like eating gas station sushi, right? Like, it's just not
eating
something
sushi,
that you
period. What the fuck are you guys thinking?
Oh, dude, come on now. You two will agree with that. She's not in for sushi either, dude. She's teriyaki bowl, right? But so I get this good job, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get right, and I'm gonna take care of my probation. I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna turn myself in. I'm gonna do that. So I do all that. I come back to California. I'm gonna get my license back, and then I'm gonna go back there, right? Because I still don't have a drinking problem, right? So I come in, I turn myself in, whatever, and while I'm here, the place that I was working at goes bankrupt. Now I don't have a job to go back to, right? Boom, right back to where I was.
Mm-hmm.
What do I fall back
into? What do you know? What do I know?
What do I know?
Right.
I know how to deal dope.
Right.
I know how to deal dope. I can't find a job. I'm on probation. I have no, whatever.
You got the fuckets.
And I got the fuckets, right?
Default setting.
So
Default setting.
I'm like, basically living in the shop behind my dad's house. My sister's living in the house, right? I'm just creating all this wreckage with my sister, and I'm dealing dope out of the garage, and I'm doing all this, and I'm doing all that, and next thing you know, she's like, Johnny, I can't do this anymore. You got to go.
Why? It wasn't her place. What does she mean by that, though?
He's dealing drugs in the shop, in the back of the house,
in the garage, right?
Bringing that kind of.
She owns a house.
People.
Oh, it was her place.
Well, my dad left at the house, but she's in control of it, right? Like whatever. That's a whole other story. But she's responsible, right?
Johnny's bringing that kind of element over.
No. I got it.
My niece and nephew were living in the house. I'm dealing dope out of the garage. She's like, dude, I can't do this anymore. You got to go, right? So now,
Johnny, he's got the headlight on in the middle of the night fixing cars.
Oh fuck no, no, dude. The garage doors open.
Oh yeah.
I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, buddy.
I didn't care.
You were out in Gustine, weren't you? Or
Newman. Yeah.
We gotta get demographics.
Look, I always like to say I don't normally say where I'm from. I usually say the West Side, the real West Side.
Cut that.
The real West Side, because it's on the other side of the river. It's not West Modesto. It's the West Side.
Yes, it is.
Right, because it's on the other side of the river. I don't care. It just is what it is. So anyway, this is like the beginning of the end. I always say that 1998 till 2003, my last relapse was 5 years long, because.
Just like Bill Wilson.
Right? Yeah. So it was 5 years. So I got in 1998, I got kicked out of drug court. Like this is how insane it was, right? So back up for a second. I got kicked out of drug court because I gave them 3 dirty tests in 6 weeks. At the end of that
overachiever.
Oh yeah. At the end of that 6 weeks, I gave them a dirty test on a Friday. On Saturday night, I got so drunk, I crashed my bicycle and cut off my fucking ear.
I was waiting for you to tell that story.
Right?
I was waiting for this.
I crashed my bicycle at 2:00 in the morning because I closed down the bar, and I'm riding my bike out into the middle of the country.
How old are you at this point? I don't know why I want to put that in perspective. I just
I'm
do.
in my late 20s, dude.
That's why it's funny to
Right?
me.
Is it a BMX? Is it a BMX bike? 10-speed mountain bike? What do we got here?
It was a Marin mountain bike.
That I kid.
Yeah, like
Why? That's the reason why I wanted your age, because I wanted people to imagine this little 5'4" guy, 28 years old.
5'9".
Okay, riding his bike in the middle of fucking night. Imagine you going down the road, going, "There goes another fucking crackhead."
But hey, but that's the power of the program. Look where he's at.
Right?
You know, that's
No.
No, so
But that's the picture I'm trying to
Oh,
paint.
I got you.
That's the picture I'm painting.
So put this into perspective.
It's on a bike.
No, I cut off my ear. I call my buddy. I get a ride to Modesto. They like literally a scene from the movies. Roll up to the emergency room door. I pour myself out of the car and they drive the fuck off. Because because they don't want no part of it, right? I don't remember.
Just a chemical experiment right here.
A lot. I remember walking in the door, blood, everywhere. And I don't remember much. I'm laying on the table in the room, right? And I remember the anesthesiologist asking me, "How much have you had to drink?" And I'm like, fucking no. I closed down the bar, probably a 5th and a 12-pack. I mean, that's my normal, right? Well, when's the last time you had something to eat? I don't know. I had some pizza earlier, maybe. I don't know.
Ooh,
And he's like,
food, what?
"How about street drugs?" I'm like, "I wouldn't be this fucking drunk, bud." And he goes,
They don't know what to give you though.
but I'm laying on, I'm like, right? But
doesn't know how to
I'm
put
laying
you
on
to
my
sleep.
side. Obviously, by this time, they've done a blood alcohol test, right?
yeah.
So they know how drunk I am. And he goes, "I can't give you anything. You just need to go to sleep." And I'm like, okay. So I literally remember laying on the gurney on my side, and they had a towel wrapped around the middle of my head, and I could feel them start to irrigate it because it's just full of dirt and stuff, and the cold water running down the side of my head and stopping in the middle. That's the last thing I remember until they wheeled me to the recovery room. They literally cleaned my head and sewed my ear back on
With no anesthesia.
With no anesthesia. That's how drunk I am. But
Nice.
but I still don't have a drinking problem.
No, it's
absolutely
not.
not.
It's the
I
dope.
still don't have a drinking problem.
Right.
Right. So anyway, that was 1998. And then we fast forward back to where we were. I go out of state. I come back, dude, and it's just terrible. I'm dealing dope. I'm doing all of this.
Even
stuff.
after your ears ripped off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah. And I go back to this, this life that I knew. Right. So total beginning to end. I dealt with off and on for like 13 years, right? So 2002, probation church, right? They come.
Probation church?
Search.
Oh, search.
Search.
Okay.
You told me to stop drinking water, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Are you going to drink the whole time? Okay. Probation came. They did a search. They got me with like 13.5 grams of meth.
Wow, that's a nice little package.
Distribution, that's nothing.
That was nothing.
Okay.
That was nothing. Half an ounce.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know my metrics.
So when you're smoking an 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce a day,
Wow.
and
That's why you don't smoke. That's when you snort it.
and you only got a half an ounce.
Yeah.
Dude, it's really in the grand
That's
scheme
like-
of life.
But
Let me
still
put it this way.
distribution, and you're gone.
Is that like
Right,
having
so-
6 left out of a 36 pack?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Right.
I just had to put it in
It's
my
like-
perspective.
It's like having a shot left in a fifth.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. It really. I mean, when you're using that much every
Gotcha.
day and still sleeping every night,
Yeah, good luck.
right?
No,
And I'm not really drinking a lot because if I'm using really, really heavy, I'm not drinking. If I'm drinking really, really
so
heavy,
there goes
I'm
the
only-
chemistry of trying to stay leveled out.
Well,
at
it's
this
gone.
point,
By
you're
this
just
Smoking it and
by this-
shooting it are a lot different than
smoking and
storing
shooting it and
it. The
snorting
effect
it.
you get is different.
And then even eating it. Like some people, I used to, put some in toilet paper and keep it in the corner of my pocket if I was on the job, and I called it a pocket rocket. I just pull it out and eat it, and in about 45 minutes, dude, you're just adios.
nice.
Because then it's just like taking meds,
Right.
it's just whatever. You're just gone. So I'm not really drinking at this point. I'm really just using, right? So
They arrest you.
I get arrested, right? Again. I go to jail. I get bailed out. The girl that I was with at the time got arrested with me. We were at the same place, so she gets arrested with me. So this is in 2002. So I fight this case. I bail out. I fight this case. I fight it. And finally, by this time, it was January 2003. I go ahead and I plead guilty to this possession for sales charge. Right? She ends up getting, at this time, Proposition 36 is what it was called. So she got to go to rehab and stuff to try to get better.
Probably her first time though.
Yes, she would.
Yeah.
She had none. She had no criminal history at the time.
Right.
While I'd been on probation since 1998, and this is 2003. Right?
Everybody knows Johnny. He's got to find someone that doesn't know him.
Yeah, continuous,
Right.
right? Continuously, because I never got discharged, right? So anyway, April 19th, 2003. After being out on a stay for 6 weeks and just running amok and doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, I went out with a bang, right? I turned myself in. That is what I consider my sobriety date, April 19th.
The day you turned
the day I turned myself in, that was the last day that I drank or used. The next day would be day one for me.
Right.
So, so I'm in there. I'm in jail. I'm doing a year, count a year. I know I'm going to be out in sometime between 8 and 12 months. Good behavior, whatever. So, about halfway through this sentence now, mind you, I'm 3 months in or whatever. I'm starting to finally get clear.
Your brain is finally
the fog's finally starting to lift.
That's kind of what our psychologist told us. But 90 days, they start clearing a little bit.
About 90 days.
20 years,
Right.
20 plus years of drinking and using heavily.
Yeah, do it.
I'm finally, I've never had 90 days. I think that the most I ever had was 30. Maybe, and that's only when I was in jail.
So what was your thought process now as you're clearing up? What are you thinking?
I'm just like, oh man, things have got to change. Larry, I got to take a drink. All right, go ahead. So I'm starting to think a little bit clearly. Anyway, I end up in this, things happen, whatever. I end up getting moved locations or whatever. And I end up in this, I end up in the parolee unit out there at the safety center.
Right.
And like everybody in there's violators, they're all going back. And I end up with this guy and I'll never forget it. He's like, little fish, this place isn't for you. He's like, you need to turn things around. Like you wouldn't do well in prison. You're a small guy. You just wouldn't. Right. So I was in there with him for like 2 weeks. Well, they moved me out of that and they moved me over to the trustee quarters.
Do you remember his name?
I do not. They moved me over to the trustee quarters because that's the whole reason that I moved over to that facility to begin with, so I could get in a program or whatever. And I got down on my knees that night and I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. Right? I just can't do this anymore.
But I just, or appease me here. What caused you? You said that man was speaking to you, but then you got moved. Now you're alone. What the hell brought you to your knees? Something snapped that brought you to your knees.
I think all of it, the culmination of the weight of absolutely everything that had been going on.
And you just gave up.
Time, and I was just done.
Moment of clarity.
Right. Thank you, Rob. That's where I was getting him to get to. Moment of clarity. Right.
I was sick and tired being sick and tired.
Just like, beat up.
I'm just beat up.
Done fighting.
I'm done. I've got, a few meetings. I went to a few AA meetings. In that first few months, I'm reading the Bible a little bit.
I wish we could bottle that feeling right there, what you're discussing.
Yeah,
bottle it and give it to somebody. Say, look, feel this. Feel this feeling.
Then they're ready.
Yeah.
Feel this feeling of, oh my God.
I just can't.
You can't explain it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
And I tell guys this when I go into the jails, I'm like, if you take that moment when you are out there and you're out of dope.
Right.
And you get that just intense, oh my fucking God, I have got to get high or put a drink in my body or whatever. It doesn't matter what drug you're using.
Right.
I've talked to enough people over the years. It doesn't matter if it's, meth, fentanyl, opioids, alcohol, whatever. You get that intense, overwhelming, I absolutely have to fucking do this right now.
Yeah.
That is, a fraction of what I felt in that moment. I just I've got to do something different. So I had a big book, not affiliated with it. So I had a big book, and I opened it up and I started doing what it said. I read it. I read the first 164 pages, and then I started.
So you had, but you had
been to a couple
which is how the big book was designed.
Right.
But
That's
only what Bill Wilson did.
Right. But only a few.
But you knew what that blue book was.
It's the big book.
No, but you knew when you saw it in your, because did you get it through H&I or was it in yourself?
I got it through H&I.
Yeah, that's why you and I are. So But when you saw it, you knew what that big book.
Yes.
You knew when you go to open it up what was in there.
Yes.
So all right.
So I start working the program.
Right.
You know,
In jail by yourself.
In jail by myself.
That's see. I love that part of his story.
In jail by myself.
I love that part of his story.
In jail by myself.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what God wants.
Right.
Yeah, He's ready for.
It actually does say in there that there's some things that we can put off.
Right.
So I get through and I go and I do all these step works, and then I go on and I kind of make a friend. The only time I'm really outside of my cell is when I'm working out, or I'm talking to a couple of guys. We were playing handball every once in a while or whatever, because I've got all this pent up energy, right? Like I've got to do something with it, right? So so I go on and I kind of start telling my 4-step and like jailhouse stories.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right. And just kind of making it a story.
Right.
You know, we're sitting there, we're talking, whatever, and I'm trying to, these, I did this and this and this and this, and right. But I'm really telling my 4-step.
Right.
Right. Some of it, the best that I can. That's not going to catch me another case, right?
Right.
Because I don't need any of that. And I do that. And luckily, things start to change. My thought processes begin to change a little bit. So I call my aunt and uncle, who I tried to live with when I came back from out of state one time before, and I called my aunt and I'm like, hey, I really need to I really need a place to stay, and when I get out of here, because if I go back to the West Side, things are going to get bad. I don't know what I'm going to do. And she's like, well, you can't. I can't let you come stay here. You got to talk to your uncle. My uncle's an old school Portuguese guy, right? Old school. So she's like, you got to call. He's off tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. I call him the next day. I'm like, hey, uncle, I'd like to come stay with you. And he tells me this. He's like, I'll give you one more chance. But if you fuck it up.
It hurts your aunt again.
And you hurt my wife again.
Right.
I will never speak to you again. And I took that to heart. Like I knew damn good and
you
well.
heard it that time. He's probably said that before.
I heard it.
Right.
It stuck.
I heard it. So when I got out, I went to their house and I stayed there. They lived in Modesto, and it wasn't too far from the Alano Club over it's technically the Alano Club of Modesto, but it's in series, right? So I got out, and within a day I was in a meeting. Over there. There used to be this group there. It was called Keep It Simple. And they had 9 a.m., noon, and I think it was 6
It's
p.m.
still there,
meetings.
isn't it?
No, Keep It Simple's been gone for a long
Has it?
time.
Alano Club is there.
The Alano Club's there. There's another fellowship there now.
Yeah.
That goes there. There's NA meetings and stuff
Right.
there. But the Alano Club is still there. And I just kind of landed there. For those of you who don't know what an Alano Club is, it's basically like a bar that doesn't serve drinks, right? They
First time I went into one, I was like, "This is cool as hell."
And there's a restaurant. And there was at the time. I don't believe
it's still there.
It's still there. No, they cook Saturday morning breakfast for
So
they serve.
Anyway, so they did all that. Then it was 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That place was open from like 6 a.m. until like 9 o'clock at night back then. Right?
And it was a club.
Right. And so I just kind of landed there. And what happened is everything that I did for the next 6 or 7 years revolved around recovery.
You're alone at this point.
As
far as relationship.
As far as relationships in the beginning, I was out for a few months and I got a job and I'm working, I'm at the Alano Club all the time. I get into a relationship. I'm in that relationship for a few years. It ends. And then, maybe a year later, I get into another relationship that I end up marrying this woman. We have a child together. We were together for about 10 years.
Okay.
But on the recovery aspect of it, I want to go back to that. Everything I did for the next 6 or 7 years, if it wasn't to do with work or my family, it had to do with recovery. I was chairing meetings. I was volunteering at the Alano Club. I was going to church. There's a big camp out called Freedom Weekend. Yeah. Like we were doing, like everything that I did revolved around that. I didn't hunt. I didn't fish. I didn't do any of the other stuff that I liked to do when I was younger. It was all about recovery. And then after my son's mother and I got married and stuff, things got a little weird. Crash of '08 happened. Lost a job. I ended up, unemployed for a while. That was a little tough. When that was over, I started driving truck, and as well as I do, when you're sitting in the cab of a truck,
Ooh, boy, that brain starts to work.
Yeah, well, your brain starts to work, and there's not often a lot of time for other things, right?
For sure.
I mean, if you're in a truck,
right,
and you're driving your mandated hours, and you're trying to keep it, 8 and 80, and all of that other stuff, or 80 and 8, sorry, or 770, depending on what book you're running. There's not a lot of room for other stuff, So I really didn't. I got down to maybe 1 or 2 meetings a year.
Oh wow.
It was tough. I was just living life. I was doing.
And you're 7 years into it, 7 years into it.
Let me see. I'm right this time. That's that 5 to 7 year.
Right.
Well,
thank you.
7 to
you knew where I was
17
going with
year.
that question.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I was in that area, right, and that you guys always talk about, where you're in that buffer zone, and then you stop because everything is good, right? Everything is going great, so you're not doing all of this things that you're normally doing, right? That you were doing in the beginning. And then, of course, there's a lot of us, and you'll hear it be like, oh, I'm not going to go to this meeting because, this person pissed me off. And I'm not going to go to that church because, oh, this happened or whatever. And I was getting really judgmental in this whole time. But the whole time, the longer I've been sober, the more my brain is going back to the way it was when I was younger. Oh, that ADHD's coming back. I'm more OCD now than I was then, and then as I get older, that's what, where, it gets a little bit worse. But I think it was at that 3-year mark, 3 or 4 year mark. It was before I met my son's mom, and after that other relationship where I literally stood in my apartment in Ceres, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, you know what, the way you think about things, the way you see things, it's wrong. Like, it's not the cop's fault that you got busted.
Wow.
It's yours.
Okay. It took you that long to realize
right?
that.
It's yours.
Wow.
Like, I'm not a...
So when you went through your steps, you know what? I know something just popped in my brain. You never went through his steps with somebody till you recently went through them then.
No, I have.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sorry.
I got my first sponsor.
Okay.
I got my first sponsor, when I was probably maybe a year out.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like a year and a half.
Right.
Or almost 2 years sober. I got my first sponsor.
Okay.
I'm sponsoring a bunch of guys. I was like Rob in the early days.
Right.
Right. I'm sponsoring a bunch of guys. I'm doing all this stuff.
Right.
I'm doing all these things. So I had a sponsor too, who, I worked with, and,
So why do you think 3 years? I mean, I'm sorry, I got distracted on that one. Why do you think at 3 years after going through your steps and doing all that, did you finally realize that?
I think it was a chemistry thing in my brain.
Really?
It took way longer than 3 years for me to get to where I was at the end. As far as all of the what I would have called the mental deficiencies, right, that I have now turned into assets.
Yep.
Right. Yep. Where I'm at now.
Right.
And it just took a long time for me to look and realize this isn't normal.
That is so interesting. I don't know why I've gotten distracted on that, because normally that's something that comes, that's the first time I ever heard that. Normally when people go through their steps, that's like, sometimes, owning your own shit.
Sometimes quickly, sometimes
no,
slowly.
I get it, but
alcoholic and the drugs do, and the way you take the way you uptake drugs affects your brain.
But it's so interesting. It's so interesting though, because we talk about that, the spiritual awakening and all that stuff. Like it comes to some people. I've never heard anybody say that part, that they're cleaning your side of the street took you longer.
Well, he wanted to have the obsession to drink or use.
No. But what I mean is, what you just said, I recognized it the day that Chris turned them fucking chairs around inside. It was immediately for me that all this shit that I've been blaming everybody else was inside of me, right?
Right.
Being true to myself was instant for me. Instant.
I remember I'm doing it by myself.
That's where I was going.
For the most part.
Right. That's why I was asking you that.
I'm getting help. I'm doing the steps the way they're outlined in the book.
Right.
I started to build this foundation because I knew damn good and well, if I did not do something different.
Right.
By the time they opened the door for me to get out of there, I was going to do the same thing I had done every other time. I was going to be drunk and loaded before I ever hit Crow's Landing Road. Right. That was going to happen.
That's what you knew.
Right. I knew it. That's what I knew. And I had to do something different. Right. And that's where that came. Right. The spiritual awakening had
your obsession was gone.
The obsession was gone.
Right.
Right. The obsession was gone. I didn't want to drink. And
you had to deal with the isms now.
Right.
Yeah. Now I'm slowly starting to learn the isms. Like I'm different. I'm not the same person that I was. It just took, I guess the biggest part of that was I hadn't forgiven myself yet.
Okay. All right.
Right. I still had not forgiven myself until somewhere right around that day.
Okay.
That happened. Okay. And then once I finally forgave myself.
Wow.
For all the shit that I did to my kids.
Carried that for 3 years after being sober.
My niece and my nephew, and I'm making tons of amends and I'm doing all of this stuff, but I'm still beating the fuck out of myself for the shit that I did.
Yeah, I did that.
The houses that I've wrecked.
Oh my God.
The people who I got started using dope just so I could make $1 or so I could get a bag for myself.
Dude, you carried that shit for 3 years and stayed sober.
Yes.
That's a lot. Sorry. That's a lot.
Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly.
I know, but think about that. I mean, he carried that.
That's God's grace.
Oh, 1,000%. He was holding you and carrying you those 3 years.
He's been holding and carrying me my whole life.
No, for sure.
My whole life.
But for you to say what you just said to me, it's like 3 years and he never, let's take a look at that. Never slipped, never triggered, none of that other bullshit that people throw in there.
But it wasn't weighing on him. It was just there, and it was God giving to him a piecemeal.
Right.
Because we couldn't have it.
I don't know why that is intriguing me, John, and I'm not done digging into that. You and I are going to. It's just
the fact that me getting molested didn't come up until I was 2.5 years sober. Did my steps the second time.
Yeah, but what he's saying is that he didn't recognize, and maybe I'm saying this wrong. You didn't recognize your side of the street was fucking dirty till 3 years in, because that's what to me is what you said.
No. So I didn't recognize that I wasn't a victim.
Huh.
Does that make sense?
No, I'm trying to process that.
Like I had lived my entire life being the victim.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, poor me shit.
Poor me.
Yeah.
Poor me.
Right.
Poor me. Oh my God, this happened because my mom died. This happened because my dad was an alcoholic. Sure. My life was exactly what it was because of all the fucked up shit
everybody else did.
Right? Everybody else did, right? It wasn't my fault that the cops arrested me. It wasn't my fault that they did a probation search. None of it was their fault. It was you know what I mean? It was never my fault.
I think that's the part that I'm just having not trouble, but because here's one of the things I want to make sure of, that this is a program of recovery, right? Our podcast is for people to recover, to help. John, to me, what you're bringing up is a whole other thing that I don't think I've heard, because you carried something for 3 years that most people have to get rid of
to stay sober.
To stay sober. And you carried it for 3 years staying sober.
But I'd already been making amends, right? Like I knew that I could look at you and be like, I'm going to use this for an example. I fucked your wife.
Okay.
Right? I could go to you. Well, if you knew about it.
No.
I
sure.
wouldn't do it if you didn't know. No. And you're like, right. I would be like, hey, dude, I did some fucked up shit.
Right.
And I'm truly sorry for that. Right. But what I didn't understand in that moment is that I did those things because I continued to feel like
it sounds like
the shit from the back.
It sounds like
does that make sense?
Yeah, a little more.
Sense?
Yeah, a little bit more.
He admits he did shit wrong.
Right.
But he didn't fully own it.
Right.
It didn't hit home until that day.
And that's the point I'm getting to is I had for me to get rid of that shit, I had to own it right away. Right. Until I was true,
but it didn't hit home.
Right. Until I was true to myself, which is what's on my arm all the time. Until I was true to myself, I couldn't do those amends. I couldn't. I had to look inside of me and go, what a piece of shit I was. I did that because I was this way. Right. I had to do that. But that's what's different, and what I find extremely impressive, John, that you were able to go those 3 years without picking up, without going through, because you were still carrying. To me, is what I had to get rid of to get my obsession was gone, but to get my peace and serenity, I had to get rid of that shit. What you were just talking about.
And I'm not saying that I had peace and serenity the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I never said.
It goes back to what I said before. The sobriety thing is fucking what it is, right? I stay involved in NA for my peace and serenity. It's not that, I'm going to stay fucking sober. It's the peace and serenity that I have to have that. But so I guess that you're right. Sober. Right. I think, for sure. But I think that's why when you say that, I'm like, I'd have been a fucking miserable son of a bitch if I'd have been keeping that stuff. Maybe you were.
Probably why another relationship.
But it was better. but it was better than the alternative.
No, for sure, he wasn't drinking, right?
And that's another God's grace kind of thing.
Like, yeah. So I mean,
I'm sorry that distracted me.
No, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. That's what we're here for.
Right. No, there's just pieces that come up sometimes. I want more answers.
But there's a level of peace to be had there. I mean, there's levels.
But
to this.
Every one of our sobriety journeys are different, right?
Correct.
That's the first time I'd heard that you somebody carried that for 3 years. Carried that.
I didn't even realize I was carrying that.
But
I get you.
Right.
No, I get that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. I get that.
It wasn't like I was still carrying the baggage.
No.
It was just a realization in my mind that said your whole outlook on life is skewed.
Wow.
Right? The way you look at everything. Okay. Not that it's not really that I'm carrying baggage or that I didn't do the steps or I didn't do them right or whatever.
It's just mental clarity.
Like it was just all of a sudden I had this extra moment of clarity, right? Because my brain is finally starting to
Did it feel like
fire on all 8 cylinders, right?
Did it feel like a load came off your shoulders?
It was just weird, right? I don't even remember. I just know that I looked in the mirror and said, your actions that you are doing right now aren't normal, especially not in recovery. Like your actions are fucked up. Your line of thinking is fucked up.
Did you have you had a steady sponsor at this time?
I had a sponsor.
Right.
And it was not long after that sponsor that I had at the time, I'd always go to him and I'd be like, hey dude, this is what I'm dealing with today. And you guys, you got way more sponsees than I do. What'd you tell them? What would you tell them? And I would tell them.
Right.
But we don't take our own advice well.
No.
Right?
No.
Like we don't. We can give advice, great,
right.
But we don't take our own advice.
Right.
And he always flipped that on me, right? So then I went for a long time without a sponsor.
Right.
Again,
right.
I did until a couple of years into my marriage or whatever. A really good one of my sponsees that was still sober is still sober. We just kind of doing like you and Doug do. We sponsored each other for
right.
the next I don't even know how long until just here recently.
Right.
When I asked Doug, I'm like, I'm feeling like things were a little weird. I want to go through this again.
Right.
Like I really want to go through and dive more into this particular part of my past.
Clean house.
And I want to talk.
Clean house.
Yeah. One of the big reasons
clean
why
a little bit.
Well, one of the things that the big book says is you're supposed to tell your whole story to somebody. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really did that.
Okay.
You piecemealed it to different people?
Piecemealed it to different people.
Okay.
So, and that's one of the things when I sat down with Doug. And
to
I'm like,
thine own self be true. If that's what you feel you had to do.
When I sat down with Doug, I'm like, look, dude, this is just going to be whatever comes out.
Right.
Today. Right. And we sat there and he listened to me for like 2.5 hours.
Just vomit.
And I only really focused on one aspect. Right. I never did a full-blown sexual inventory.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it was like 2.5 hours of full-blown sexual inventory.
There you go.
Right.
Wow.
Did your chicken die?
Huh?
Did your chicken die?
No, my chicken didn't.
Oh, mine did. He was a pussy chicken. He was weak. I need a stronger chicken, man.
Heather, you've already been introduced.
Sorry, Heather.
You can jump in there.
I forgot she was here. My chicken's name was Dolores, by the way.
Okay, so this is where, right? So we're a few years in. I'm married now, right?
Right.
And
Kicking ass.
My son's on the way.
Was your wife in the program?
My ex-wife is in the program.
She was then when you met her too.
She was.
Okay.
Yes. So I was about 3 years sober, and she was about a year sober when we met. So we're a couple years apart in sobriety or whatever. And it was in that time frame in which I met my now very significant other,
Miss Heather.
Yeah,
Yes.
Miss Heather, and she was married at the time. I was married at the time, and it just is there was nothing
right.
None of that shit going on, right? But that's where we met,
okay,
right? And initially, so the relationship that I had with my now ex-wife, it was good. We did things good. We had a really good life together. We just grew at different paces and in different directions.
Gotcha.
It's just kind of what happened.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting a divorce, and that's okay. We can do that. We can do that in sobriety. We can realize and recognize that, hey, we don't get along,
Right.
and that's okay.
And
Right.
co-parent
And
well.
we're going to co-parent our child together, and that's just what we're going to do. And in this time, I've my daughter comes and lives with us, and
I was just getting ready to ask you about that. Sorry, because you talked about earlier, you weren't 100% for sure if it was yours or not.
yeah.
But she is.
She is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There was no clarification there for sure.
99.98.
You listen to the two of them talk for about 3 seconds, and she's his.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. She hands
So
down my kid.
we skipped over this a little bit. Sorry. At what point did your grandmother pass? You talked about her when you went to her.
Long before I got sober.
Okay, but
Many years.
so it was quite a while after she told you you weren't done yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you went off for a little longer.
Yeah. Several more years.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
When you did your amends, did you go out to and see her?
I didn't go out and see her.
Okay.
No, but I did. There's a lot of men's that I hear you guys talking about going out
Right.
to the cemetery and doing that
Right.
kind of stuff.
And then there's just living it too.
That's
Right.
where I'm going. I just try to do a living amends.
Right.
A,
I don't know.
a full blown
I got
hands
it.
down living amends. And over the last 21 years, I've looked up and said, I'm still doing it.
Atta girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still doing it.
Yep.
I'm just here. I'm
Yeah,
doing it. I'm
right.
doing it one day at a time. And there was a lot of times, Larry, in those years, especially during my marriage and driving truck and doing all of that kind of stuff, where the only thing that I did right on many days
Stay sober.
was not put anything in
Right.
my body to change the way I
Right.
feel, right?
Right.
Because not that I have a lot of feelings, but to just change my mental.
Right.
We have
Mind of
lost
thinking.
the right to chemical peace of mind.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have that. And it's
I love
funny
that.
that Rob said better living through chemistry, because we literally said that on the streets back in
Right.
the day.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, yeah. I
Better
think I
living
got it
through-
from.
that you-
I didn't invent that
better
shit.
living
Right.
through chemistry, better living through
Right.
chemistry.
Hey,
So-
because with booze you lose, with dope you got hope.
I'd heard
Yeah,
that
well,
many
yeah,
times.
yeah, it's just whatever.
Ask
Right?
Dolores.
So yeah,
That's Dolores.
so
Sponsored by
so,
Foster
so-
Farms.
So here we are. I end up getting divorced. Larry's about ready to fall out of his chair right now. He's laughing. so
Fucking
hard.
Rob, why you have the fucking Foster?
Apologize.
You idiot. God. That was funny. The whole coop.
We lost the whole.
Takes what it takes, baby.
So
Someone's got to pay.
So I'm now recently divorced.
Right.
I move to Oakdale, and I start going to meetings again because I'm just like, wow, dude,
Is that when we met?
yeah, at Oakdale Fellowship. I know in my mind, and I'm telling myself, I'm okay. You've got enough program behind you.
Yeah.
You've got all these years. You're doing all this stuff. You're not drinking,
But
whatever.
when you start telling yourself that shit, when you start justifying, rationalizing, minimizing, you're lying to yourself.
So I remember I go to this birthday speaker meeting, right? It's my birthday. And I go to this birthday speaker meeting, and I'm talking, because they did little shares or whatever. And I share, and I'm guessing it was fucking angry as shit, because I really don't even remember what I said. But after the meeting, PD comes up to me and he's like, "You're a fucking dry drunk and you need to get back into service."
It's easy to recognize.
And I was like, "Oh, what?" It
Right.
just hit me, right? And he's like, "H&I, the Alana Club," back to my beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
The what is it? The fourth,
Right.
the third Wednesday of every
Third
month.
Wednesday, yeah.
Third Wednesday of
Yeah.
every month.
Same night I go into the jail.
At
Right.
7:00 for anybody who's interested.
Right.
10 months out of the year, that's where the H&I,
Right.
that's where the H&I group meets. That's your
Mhm.
starting point. And if you want to get interested in hospitals and institutions, you're welcome, Pete. The interim, forever
Right.
interim.
He's been interim for 100 years.
Yeah, for 100 years. Anyway, but he's like, "This is where you need to be," and he's like, gives me his number. He's like, "Check this out. This is who you need to talk to. This is what you do, but be patient. It takes forever. Like to get your jail pass. Like listening to your story to get your
Right.
jail pass. Like you got sober in jail. Like this is where you need to
Right.
be.
He ain't wrong. He wasn't wrong.
This is your calling. This is where you
Right.
need to be." He's like, "But just be patient." He's like, this is not going to happen. Like this, you're
Just
not,
tell
you're-
God that. Watch what happens.
Well, yeah, and he did, right? That's what he said. He said it out loud, and this is what happens. I had my jail pass in 10 days.
Nice.
I went from the time
Take
that I
that,
went to,
Pete.
Yeah, no. He from the time I went to that meeting, it was 10 days later that I was calling
Because God wanted him where he needed to be.
Yes, sir.
The other
Save his
person
life.
that was in charge of that, the liaison. It was like 10 days, and I'm like, okay, I'm going in, right? So then the weird part is I get, I go in with, I'm gonna throw this out there. I go in with Heather's ex-husband, is who I end up starting doing H&I work with, right? So
Is that odd? Is that God?
Right.
But we're still not. She's with somebody else at the time, and like, it's just whatever.
We'll get into that too.
We're friends on Facebook, right?
Yep.
That's the real friendship.
Yeah.
I guess I got to get on that thing, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't have it anymore. I gave it up. Anyway, so I start doing H&I work. I go in, I start going in, and it is somewhere in this time frame that I run into Heather at the damn grocery store, right? She had a great loss in her life. I had seen that. I kind of reached out to her on Facebook or whatever, and then I don't know, we're just friends, and here we are, right?
Yeah. That's a great segue.
Right.
It really is.
It is a great segue, right? I
Right.
mean, we just we just became friends. We were, I was recently
best
divorced.
relationship.
She had a
Yeah.
loss in her life. Like we
Yeah.
started building this friendship. That we had been friends already for a really, really long time, but we weren't really, really close.
Right.
Right. There's a huge age gap. Right.
Well, I'm about to say she's
Yeah.
a lot younger than we are.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
that
14,
age,
it's like I said earlier, age is just a number, and I'd get to that.
it
Right?
Oh, you're
is.
right.
It's-
So-
I don't.
Hey, I'd get one younger too if I could.
Bonnie is going to whip your
Bonnie's gonna kick
ass,
your ass. I've only met her one time.
dude.
And she's gonna beat your
the
ass.
the vanilla, and now that.
Hey, does she like that? To her, that's a compliment, by the way. She loves that. She loves that.
She's gonna have to
That's
tell
your
me
story
that.
and I'll
this one,
tell
this
it.
one here, she'll probably kick my ass. Like it.
Good, because I'm gonna
It's
send
good
it.
because I like to fight.
Send it to her before we.
I'm gonna send it to her directly.
send it. Just that spot. Just that little clip, right?
Huh.
So yeah, that's kind of when Rob and I met. Is Oakdale Fellowship. That's when Rob and I met. Then heaven forbid, COVID happened. It's sure funny. There's like World War I or World War II. There's a Civil War. There's
Vietnam, all that.
and then there's COVID. Right.
It's history.
It's a history timeline.
Yes,
it's
it is.
It's pre-COVID
Yes,
and
it is.
post-COVID. Right.
Right.
So, but I had to get back and start doing this. I say it, and I'm going to throw it out there because I've said it 100 times. I struggle the most at work. That's where I struggle.
Working the program, working.
I can't
staying spiritually
I
fit.
struggle at work. I've had the same job for more than
Okay.
10 years,
Okay.
but I have this mindset. When I drive in that gate in the morning, we're all paid to do a job.
Yep.
And you need to do that job. And if you're not doing that job, then you shouldn't fucking be here.
Yep.
Right. I mean, and that's my mindset. And then I start getting into that.
And that comes out, and then that comes out.
And that comes out. Right. So that was one of the other main reasons that I started working with Doug too, is because I'm just like this.
And you and I had talked about that.
Yeah, this is okay. I can't be like that because
Right.
this is a program based on attraction rather than promotion, right? And at work, I'm not fucking attracting anybody, right?
got you.
I'm not even attracting friends,
No, but also inside you is not settled when that goes on.
right?
Right.
because
That dichotomy is not working out. You can't be that guy. 'Cause
Right.
We're supposed to be the same man.
right, but- and I'm not. So I always,
And it bothers you. We talked about it too.
It does bother me, right? I always say that I'm going to put a mailbox outside the gate that says feelings, and everybody's supposed to walk in when they come
But
in.
they
They're supposed to
They
check their
don't.
feelings. My envelope's really small, right?
No.
Like I'm not putting much in there. So I mean, we talk shit. We have a good time. There's a few of us that have a really good time at work every day, but then there's some guys that they don't want nothing to do with me because I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Like I'm just an asshole, especially when I get into the zone, right? Because I get into this zone. And this is where that ADHD comes back into play now, because I tell even my bosses, I'm like, I can multitask like nobody's business. Like I can do 5 things at one time. Don't give me 6 because I'll start to vibrate. Like because and it's not a
Right.
joke, because when my brain is going so fast,
Right.
I start to stutter.
Yep.
And it's only because that I can't make my mouth move as fast
Right.
as my brain
Yep.
is going.
I know the feeling.
But I'm really good at what I do.
Right.
Right. And so there's all that. And then when somebody comes up and talks to me and I'm at maximum capacity already, I don't have time for niceties.
Right.
So whatever comes out of my mouth is completely unfiltered. Number 9.
Yeah.
Right. I'm wearing the shirt that's, that says 9 out of the 10 voices in my head tell me I'm crazy, and the 10th just hums. There's actually 14. Right. 14 voices in my head all the time. Right.
Number 9's an asshole.
Number 9, unfiltered asshole. Right. It just comes
Heather,
out.
it's funny. You know which one it is.
Like it just comes out. Like it's already been out of my mouth long before my brain even comprehends what I said.
So you're eating shit sandwiches all the time.
All the time. I
Not
still
my
eat shit
wife,
sandwiches.
not your wife, nor anybody listening to this podcast has eaten a shit sandwich we didn't have a hand in making.
That was for you, John.
And I prefer to eat my crow warm.
Eat it hot, baby.
Because
Eat it hot. Don't taste it. I mean, it tastes better. But you got to.
It cold
Slides
crow,
down
cold
better.
crow.
Cold crow tastes like shit, right? I have a 24-hour rule, right? If I hold on to something for longer than 24 hours, and I tell people that all the time, if you're still holding on to that shit 24 hours after it happens,
trouble.
you fucking own it.
Right.
You own it.
I give myself 1 hour.
So yeah, well,
I can't.
He
sit with
had
it.
to alter that rule for my sake.
yeah.
That's funny.
I can't. Sometimes some people have a longer processing period than we do. Right. Not everybody can process shit as fast as we can. Right. Like they just can't.
Oh,
So
I'm talking about like if I have a resentment or a fear or something, if I've given it to God and an hour later I took it back, I'll call one of my brothers. Say, I've got a resentment at this chicken. This is what it's affecting.
He fucking died.
This is my part. We pray on it, and I'm good. But I don't want to wallow in my shit for any longer than I have to.
If I have an ounce of anxiety in my stomach, I got to stop and go, why? Where is this shit coming from?
Because
right?
I've wasted a lot of years like that. So I don't want to.
I mean,
but now I know what you're talking about as far as 24-hour process. Now I know what you're
deal with so much shit throughout the day. Sometimes I got to stop and go, where's this coming from?
Now that he talked about Heather and that they're together and should we bring her in now to catch?
Well, I want to take a break. I mean, I'm about ready to pee in that cup right there. But
let's see. I don't want to see no orange pecker either with your Cheetos.
It's a truck driver thing.
Yeah.
If you sit in a truck long enough, bud, your prostate is not going to work the way it's supposed to.
we're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back and we're gonna bring Heather in and we're gonna let it. There's a few more things before I cut this loose. I just want to ask John one thing. So when you got in, because I always go back to this and I try to tell people, man, get in a group, right? One of the best things that's ever happened, and God had led me to Rob and into this group in Oakdale, right? This group that we have.
The Monday Night Men's group that you're invited to if you have a penis.
Right. Jesus Christ. Robert. Anyways, I mean, just the group of men that we have and it doesn't have to be us. Grab 2 or 3 other guys and just go to have Starbucks.
Build your own.
Yes, my God.
Say a prayer, have God
Here's
help
the
you.
thing
Like
about
me and
it.
Aaron did, build it.
I don't have a sponsor anymore. I've got 25, 26, right?
Brothers.
That's what I have. I can call John. I can call Rob.
Absolutely.
I can call Doug. I can call Brad. I can call Mark. I can call anybody
Just
in
call
there.
somebody.
I can call any of them, and it does. Sometimes I don't need to because I know I have these guys right behind me. Just knowing that those guys are right there, and if something starts to go sideways,
It's powerful.
Oh my God. And I tell people this all the time, and it's not only men, but women need it too, right? I think women need it as much as men do.
The problem with it, and I'm going to talk to Heather about this when she comes in, and my wife's told me many times is why women are catty bitches,
right?
And they're mean to each other. They're so terrible to each other. It's hard to build.
But
it's
let
hard
me
to
ask you something, Rob.
What?
Let me ask you something. If we had a catty son bitch come into our, don't you think we'd chase his ass out of there?
No, we'd either break him, or he'd be gone.
All right,
we would fix him.
We would fix him.
Okay, because
I guarantee you, I'd fix him.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
Shut your fucking mouth or get out.
Right.
Most likely, they wouldn't like us and leave.
No, yeah.
Plain and
but if
simple.
they
not too many
people.
Not too many people could sit there and take the shit that we take from each other. That takes a fucking broad shoulders. When we start ragging on each other and we deserve it, right?
Yeah.
We deserve, when you guys start coming down on me for some stupid shit I'm saying, I fucking deserve it. I deserve every ounce of it.
But also we have the same goal. We all want to be better men.
1,000%.
And we sharpen one another. And we know that we're leaky vessels, man. We're leaky vessels.
We've all been hurting because one of our brothers has been gone and we just got back with him. And I'm going to tell you right now, there was multiple guys of us that were fucking happy to hear his.
I was definitely one of them yesterday.
Oh my God. When I saw his text come
a couple of
across.
us were getting ready to go pay a visit.
Yeah.
There's some ass whooping about to happen.
Well, I was just blessed to see. I was so happy to see his. When he texted yesterday, first thing I did was call. I didn't even waste my thumbs. I called him. I was like, we talked for almost an hour. Love him. You know, we miss him. You know, the difference between the group we have in our AA group, right, is sometimes we don't even open up the book, right? We can just get in there and start talking about something. Mm-hmm. One of our brother's daughters going through cancer. We had another brother
they
lost.
They found a dosage that'll work for her. She's going back to school.
Yeah.
Finally.
She was
but she had an outlet.
Reactions.
She had an outlet. He couldn't have got that at an AA meeting. He could not have gotten that because the AA meetings sometimes are so structured.
Well, then that's the way they're designed.
Right.
Because it's for alcohol.
Yes.
We bring.
My point is, Rob, is find a group of guys, get 2 or 3 guys together.
Or move to Oak Hill and come to ours if you have a penis. Other than that, you can't.
Fucking Rob.
Come on with it. I love more the merrier.
Oh my God.
I've invited 2 guys to it from today. One from yesterday. A new guy, and one the guy I met at the Autopart store today. Come on with it. We'll see if they show up.
Let's get out of here. Thanks, John. You're
Sponsored
coming back,
by
though.
Tyson Chicken.
Thank you for joining us today.
We hope you learned something today that will help you.
If you did not, come back next week and we'll try again.
If you like what we heard, give us a 5-star review. If you don't like what you heard, kiss my... You can't say that, can you? Anyway, if you don't like what you heard, go ahead and tell us that, too. We'll see what we can improve. We probably won't change nothing, but... do it anyway.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Come back next week and hopefully something will be different and something will sink in. Take care.
This has been Recovery Unfiltered.